Okay, so the whole concept about Python iterators is the ability to use data structure and kind of loop through it, right? Iterate through it. We have used several of these in the past, and then I have some code on the screen. Pay attention to this one right here. So there's a list with a few items in it, and basically you can iterate through the list in that manner, right? It's all the this code for iron list. This is built in and given to us that allows us the ability to iterate. Likewise with the dictionary, right? Dictionary here, there's a set here, and there's a tuple. So these are the four that we use very commonly. The common thing about these four is that they all hold some kind of data, right? When you're working with um, like a like a data frame or data, it's always, there's a need for you to iterate through them. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through a few examples of how to use this functionality and also to build it together. Um, so, I can run this. You see, just pay attention to this code. There is a main here, and I'm just running that code. I mean, pretty straightforward. It prints the whole thing out, right? No big deal. And then I'm going to take this out because I don't want, well, maybe I can copy it. Well, I can just leave it. So we'll pay attention to this other one. And this is a very simple format of what we have been working on so far. All right. Well, where is my file name? So it's not going to work. Maybe I should. What's the file name here? And let me just run it and see if something prints on the screen. All right, something comes up. Very cool. So now data frame, right? That is part of the pandas library. It has an ability to, built-in thing that you can use to iterate, right? So what I'm going to do is and I'm going to change this code a little bit because I don't want this to be printed here. So let me just return, and we're not going back to what you have done. I mean, I'm just showing a simple example. I know you have modularized this thing and also broken this into different classes. Keep it that way, right? But what I'm teaching you, that is what you are going to use in implementing the concepts of iterators. So returning the data frame, and I can grab it here. Okay, so oh, that's funny. I had the file name right here, and then I was looking for it. I thought I had it. So we can, the cool thing here is that, and I'm just going to code it in the main here, just to avoid time and all that, right? Here I can do a for index row, right, in df dot, see, iteros. That's kind of cool, right? Iteros right there, and then I can see, oh, no, that one. Then do a, I can do a print. All right, I'm using the format and put an index. Maybe I don't need to put index. I will just put curly brackets index, and then I want to put now this data, like in the row, what am I going to get here? Let me just put a couple of these, row, and then also I want to put a row in. All right, so open this data really quickly. London weather. Is it London weather or Australian weather? Australian data. Oh, well, doesn't matter. I think I told everybody to use the Australian weather if possible, but since I'm here and these data, um, cloud, let me see the Australian one really quickly. Test data, training data. Yeah, I like this better. It's got a whole bunch of, code and things here. At least that makes it readable. Location, right? So let's just go location and min temp, right? Location and min temp. So here I'm going to put a single quote location, single quote min temp. All right. And I know it's no longer in here, so we're going to change that. What is it called? right? Whether is do I have a space in there? I think I have a space in there, which is not very common for me. I normally don't like CSV, right? So now we'll see what it does. It's probably going to complain about the file name because I know on the Mac, um, is it, I can make my life easier. Just pull this down on the top level and then refactor that. So Australian data, where did it go? Oh, I'm going to rename it too. Avoid the hassle. So this would be training data. All right. Things that I didn't even plan. Put it right here. Now that should give me a better data, hopefully. Did I put an A at the end? Well, doesn't matter. Okay, so the point is here that you can use like a iteration and go through the data frame, okay, and pull out details in that manner using row because row means each row, and then you have to put the column name to make it happen, right? Likewise, also, iteros, and there's this other one. Since I'm here, I want to show you quickly. You can simply say, well, I can change this one. So take out index, and then I can say rows. There's this other one that's available that's kind of cool to use, iter tuples, right? And what it is that tuples is basically each row. So that's why, I won't be able to print that code over there. Okay, take that out. Right, get that, put it, and then hit the run button. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even need to. Why am I not thinking today? I'm just printing the row. There we go. Okay, something's not right, right? And it's an easier way to see each rows that is coming to you. All right. So, and other things you can also do. So we have iteros. You can also this other one called what happened to iter items? Right. So here you can put. That's funny. That's not showing up, but I thought there was another one. Column. Let's just put name, data, items, and then in the print, you can print out the column name. All right. That would be name. And then also, I want to print out let's go to the line down here. Print. What am I printing at the data, huh? Data, and then curly bracket. That would be data dot values. Okay, so let's see what this provides to us. Iter items. I thought there was one. I can almost bet you, but what happens? Iter, tuple rows, columns. Either way, I'm going to check and see what's going on. Give me 1 second. All right, what has happened is that the iter items that is no longer available in this version of pandas. So you can simply use the items method in there. They'll provide those values to you. Okay, so I'm not sure how much of these would be using, but I just wanted to show you, get you all familiarized with data frame. The way we have set up our classes, right? So, I'm going to keep everything here, so it's easier for me to just kind of talk through stuff, right? What we do, I want to go ahead and basically create a class, right? So I'm going to say class, and what should I call this? Aussie data frame. That even sounds pretty cool, right? Okay. Inside, the neat thing about this is that normally, like I said, you can have a list, set, dictionary, and all that, and iterate through them because those are data structure. Your classes can have store data and values as well, but we do not have the ability naturally to just iterate through classes. So the goal here is to turn your classes in a way where you can use iteration on it. So the way you do that is simply you do an init here, right? And in this init self, and I'm going to also pass in data frame, right? Data frame. Init is basically the constructor equivalent in Python. So self dot, what I'm going to call it df, right? Just call it df as in data frame. Data frame equals to df. And then a very important, I think, is a very important variable that you need when you're doing this type of iteration is to have that index. This index tells you where you are in terms of your looping. So that is very important. And then you have to say, I normally tell where do I need to stop, huh? Max index, which equals the length of the df. All right. So that is pretty basic stuff. This is an index counter that tells me where I am, which row am I on in my data frame, and then this tells me where I'm going to stop. Right. And then a very important code then comes in is this double underscore iter. Right. This is what will create the implement that iteration methodology in it. And here I'm going to return self. All right. And then the other one that is also as important is this next method. That is the key of this one. So you take a self here. And so in the next, we can simply check if self.current index is less than self.max index. That means I'm still in my range of looping. Then I can say row is equals to self.data frame, df rather, df.ilog. Right, ilog basically give you the data in a data frame at a location, at an index, self dot current index. I think so far it's pretty, self-explanatory, right? Everything you can follow. And then the variable that I have current index, I'm going to do a plus equals 1. I'm going to increase, keep incrementing. Then here, return. Oh, right. Now, if that is not the case, what you have to do is you have to do this other important code, and that is called raise stop iteration, right? So that is it, right? Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to use this code here. So I'm loading data frame, and then I'm returning here. Actually, let's avoid the hassle of keeping this here that we don't even need. And then, that bothers me with the Australian data set. There we go. Well, I can't even spell today, but that could be fixed. Brilliant. All right. Hey, I haven't been to Australia, so it's okay if I misspell the spelling. So now, what was this about? Take this out too. So I'm reading all the data, putting in a data frame. Then you can simply do I'm going to say df iterator, is equals to, what's the name here? Can I change? I'm going to change this name here. Maybe, yeah, change it a little bit, right? So it's more, makes more sense of what this is about. So put that here and then provide the data frame in it. Right? Basically, I'm taking the data frame and turning it into a class, right? And it will allow me to use the iterative methods and the next method. Let me show you how that works. So then simply I can say for row in df iterator, right? And print row, right? Hopefully that works. I haven't even tested this code yet. All right, you can see how it goes ahead and prints a whole bunch of stuff, right? So that is what's the neat thing about using iterative tool. In order to implement this in your classes, you need to have something of this manner, right? Iter, and then the next magic method. Okay, so here I'm looping through it, right? But we can avoid that, and we can do something even different. We can do a code like I can say print. I can put a next here. You see that next method, right? And provide the data frame in there. And same time too, I'm going to copy this line of code a few times more, right? And what this does is that it basically data frame object is not an iterator. What do you mean? What am I missing here? Oh, it's gotta be this one. I tell you, um, every time I'm doing a tutorial, it's just live coding. I don't have anything prepared. I don't prepare any of my code before. Sometimes I do, but not in a lot of cases. It's a good thing, I mean, that is how coding is, right? You normally miss things. So here it will print the first row, I'm assuming, then it will print the next row, and then the next row, and then the next row. So that method next basically runs this code, and um, it gets the next row based on the index, right? Index is what controls it. So that is how um, the concepts of iterators in Python. So let me just check if I missed anything with regards to this assignment that we're looking at. Right, we have the iter tools. We're using next in there, like it's doing its thing. We have a counter, a tracker rather, index tracker that's kind of checking it too. So that's going to work. And all right, I think that is good for us. At least this shows us how we can use this concept on the Australian data. Awesome.